that you can click on and you can donate. Please do. And also you can go to our event page, week 1, the Poetry Zoomathon, and click tickets. And you can donate. So there are many ways to donate, but first of all, go to the Zoom chat and click there to donate now. And we have special gifts for you for donations. For a gift of $25, we have a thank you gift of a Mad Hat book. For $50, you will get a Mad Hat book and an Unlikely book. And for $75, you will get a Mad Hat book, an Unlikely book, and a pair of uniquely crafted angry lips. Tara, show us the angry lips.
Yes, so for $75 to act blue, one of these lovely angry lips could be yours. We have all colors. They are handcrafted by moi. And we have specialty lips. This one is called avocado, green with a brown pit. The tongue moves. We have monster lips. We have tongue ring lips. We have sparkly lips. And this could be all yours. 2 books and angry lips. We have gold teeth for those extravagant members of the audience. Lilac lips. I will be showing various types of lips throughout the telethon, but please do consider a donation of $75 to Act Blue. You'll get 2 books and 1 pair of lovely angry lips.
Fantastic. Thank you, Tara. And keep your receipt to your donation to Act Blue and send it to info at litbalm.org. That's BALM, litbalm.org, info@litbalm.org, in order to get your thank you gift. Thank you very much. So the Republicans, my friends, have turned their backs on kindness, diversity, justice, equity, knowledge of all kinds. We need to restore these values to our political lives, and that's why we're supporting the Democrats. We hope you will too. Go to the chat. Go to the link on our Facebook page, go to our event page and donate there. Please donate generously. We don't want 4 more years of this. Let's help. Thank you. And now I'm going to read a poem. Warsaw Ghetto. I am the Warsaw Ghetto. I am the Underground Railroad. I am a hero. I am the people who sang songs, who said the Lord's Prayer and the Shema Yisrael, as the Nazis led them to the gas chamber. I am a 5-year-old girl in Jim Crow, Mississippi, going to school. I am Rosa Parks. I stand before the policeman, before his club and his gun, and I say, no, you can't have mine, no. They tortured me and I confessed. I couldn't help it. They put electrodes on my, and I screamed. I told them everything they wanted to hear, but I never believed them. I never believed their lies, have always believed in love, could see in the distance the light and wait. I know it will come for help. I am a survivor of mama's torture and daddy's rape at age 1, age 2, age 3, and now. I survived the selfish fondlings, the inspection of my genitals, the picking with groping hands, the gangbang, the lies. I survived the prostitution, the mutilation and sedation, the betrayal and attempted murder of my soul. Don't tell me there is no God. Who else helped me? It wasn't you. I called on God to help me. There was no one else, no mother, no father, no teacher, no preacher, no rabbi, no doctor, no friend. My enemies were powerful like Hitler in the ghetto, but I held out. And when I tried to collaborate, wanting to die, when I tried to surrender, I couldn't do it. I had to stand up, had to fight, no matter how many times they knocked me down, called me crazy, made me cry. In the ghetto, in the sewers, there's a record, a diary like mine, of people who fought and loved, of people who fought and won, no matter what anybody says. Thank you. And now it's my pleasure to introduce my co-host, Marc Vincenz, who is an Anglo-Swiss-American poet, a fiction writer, translator, editor, publisher, designer, multi-genre artist, and musician. And he has published 14 books of poetry, including more recently Becoming the Sound of Beasts, Leaning into the Infinite, The Syndicate of Water and Light, and Here Comes the Nightingale. Marc, would you read us a poem?
Thank you, Larissa. This poem's called In a Word. For your ears, in your exile, in your comfort zone, in which you fly unscathed, unsheathed, in the scarlet reveries, in your scarf and hands, where the hum of time seems like a downpour, or the dizzying heights of mountain crags, the sharp flashes of light that become visible in the no longer already night. Here in the deep, darkening center, in the storm of spring, or the silence and its willow tree, in the serenade on the veranda, or the poplar spines, in the furrows and the silt, do you believe the true believer may be risen from the dead? Hold the fire and the ever-transforming, the endless sky or the filthy sewage which spews out under the shadows of crosses, and which they say settles the soul. You will emerge, as you do, in all your manifolds, in the siege, and in among the tramps, the wayfarers, the heavenly debate in the afterwards, all those among us searching for safety. Here we are heathens, the lamb, the temples that rise over the hills, yesterday had us back among you in proud flight, where the stained glass was the mirror and shattered our pride. Earn your trust, they say. Weren't we the ones who lifted the dead, who muttered their prayers accordingly, where every motion was also a wavering? So estranged we were in the day's end. The words, the word, the tales were etched in their smiles. Take the last sheet of paper and hold it up to the window. Take the benevolence of any kindred spirit and arise. The book always ends somewhere. Thank you. Now, I'd like to introduce you to one of my co-hosts, Jonathan Penton. It's sometimes difficult to find all this stuff in among the, let me see, excuse me. Shoot. Here we go. Yeah. Sorry. Is it possible that
I can jump in, Marc.
If you would, I can't find the file. I'm so
Jonathan
sorry.
Penton is the founder of the electronic literary journal Unlikely Stories in 1998. He has provided technical and management expertise to many organizations. For example, the New Orleans Poetry Festival, Mad Hat, and Big Bridge. And now can we hear from Jonathan, please?
Thank you, Larissa, and thank you, Marc, and thanks especially to Tanya Woods, who is helping behind the scenes tonight. We really appreciate your stepping up and helping take care of us in this complicated little room. All right, I have a haibun to read. He didn't handle the quarantine like other people. Sure, everyone was a little frazzled. Everyone was taking up absurd hobbies. Many of us developed little tics. James started with music. He would turn on his radio and listen to a bit of Zydeco, then turn on his laptop's playlists and listen to pop music at the same time. After a while, he began curating the songs, matching the songs in his collection to whatever came on the radio. He had switched to the R&B station by that point. Soon, he fired up his desktop and added a third song. By then, he was spending all his time matching songs to one another, organizing 3-minute symphonies of competing melodies and complementary lyrics. We don't know when he stopped sleeping, and he was far from the only one who gave up basic hygiene. But as his eating veered junkier and his songs grew more melodramatic, his vision blurred, his fingers numbed, and its senses narrowed into one mission of perpetual discord. The walls are blistered, sweat spreads and puddles upward. No need for escape. All right. Our primary host tonight will be the great Tara Campbell. Tara is a DC-based writer and teacher whose fourth book, Political AF, A Rage Collection, was published by Unlikely Books in August 2020. Tara, take it away, please.
Thank you so much. Hello and welcome everyone. And in lieu of poetry, I thought I would let my lips speak for themselves. This is one of the thank you gifts we're offering tonight. These are angry lips, and these are handcrafted by myself. We have a little Harlequin action going on. This can be yours for a donation of, this is like the wild bird lips. Apparently I tried an experiment and it's a little kooky, but here it is. For a donation of $75 to Act Blue, you could have one of these, even the little tiny lips missing a tooth. So we are putting the donation link in the chat, and you would just need to email your receipt to info@litbalm.org. For $25, you can get a Mad Hat book. For $50, you get both a Mad Hat book and an Unlikely Books book. And then for $75, you get both of those books together with an Angry Lips. And this one I call Watermelon. I guess you can see with the color scheme for obvious reasons. I need to put a little pit in the tongue there. And I just also wanted to acknowledge how many folks we have joining us from all over the world. I see folks signing in from New York, North Carolina, Virginia, Colorado, Massachusetts, Quito, Ecuador. And I believe we have poets signing in from Portugal and Paris. So thank you all for joining us from wherever you are. And I think without further ado, I would like to get us started with the first of our readers. I would like to welcome, we have a special message from Charles Bernstein. If we can get that queued up or get him unmuted, whichever method we're using, I'll just read a little intro to him. Poet, essayist, theorist, and scholar Charles Bernstein is a foundational member and leading practitioner of language poetry and American experimentalism. Here is a special message from Charles.
I think Marc's working on that.
In a moment. So until that comes on screen, here's some more Angry Lips.
Marc, we're not getting sound.
Of the world, to the environment, infrastructure, healthcare, democracy, and to the millions of victims of state feel so dejected. I want to crawl under the covers and say none of this is real. And even if it is, then nothing I do will make any difference. That's just what the Republican Party's mendacity virus is designed to make you feel. The cure for that is not social distance, but political action. The success of the Republicans from Reagan to Trump has meant irreparable damage for much of the rest of the world, to the environment, infrastructure, healthcare, democracy, and to the millions of victims of state violence via prisons, the police, and the military, all of which has been underwritten by economic corruption in the form of socially debilitating transfers of wealth from those who create it to those who hoard it. Republican voters share the blame with their chosen representatives, but so do people who don't vote and don't protest. Trump was the big loser of the 2016 popular vote. Let's make sure he goes down in history as a two-time loser. With our blue state votes, we can make sure the popular vote margin is bigger the second time around. Let's vote for Biden and Harris, and also for all candidates in every other contest affiliated with the Democrats, because the damage the Republican Party is doing is carried out by every Republican officeholder. Langston Hughes reminds us that life's no crystal staircase, that we are a community in transition. Perfection is not an option. Biden and Harris are the more perfect choice. And how? And now.
And how? Wow. So yes, I am going to move right along from that very special message. And I would like to invite Bobby Byrd to be unmuted while I read his little bio. Bobby Byrd's most recent book is Otherwise My Life is Ordinary. He's the co-founder with Lee Byrd of Cinco Puntos Press, El Paso, Texas, and a teacher of Zen practice at Both Sides, No Sides Zen Community. Bobby, please take it away.
Thank you, everybody. I'm honored to be here with all these wonderful poets, and I thank you for all the people who've organized this. I'm going to read one poem. It's an Earth Day poem. One morning during the pandemic. It starts with a quote from Gary Snyder. Revolutionary consciousness is to be found among the most ruthlessly exploited classes: animals, trees, water, air, grasses. One morning during the pandemic, springtime, the city silent with the fear of death, a hedgehog cactus from among its dangerous spines gave birth to a single luscious pink and white blossom the size of a man's fist. Its sexual core bright yellow and gooey, the promised one, as stated in the prophecies. The blossom, once born in the sunshine, began to preach the gospel of the earth. Its dance through the wide blue sky, the sermon explaining exactly how and why humanity is not needed, if ever it was. Thank you. The great boundless universe to flourish in the truth of love. All day long, the flower preached, interrupted from time to time by a pair of black-chinned hummingbirds, seasonal migrants from south to north, who kept coming by, greedy for communion, the body and blood. Take this and eat. Take this and drink. The body and blood. There was that one black bumblebee too, squat little beast, ravaging the delicate core of the flower's being. The flower continued its sermonizing, unperturbed, while attending to these duties. Neighbors and friends walking up and down the street stopped by to experience firsthand the flower's message. What they learned, only time will tell. We'll see, won't we? The flower preached until sunset, and during twilight it slowly closed those delicate petals into itself, packed its bag, and disappeared forever. The cactus didn't seem to mind. It had small buds already perched among its spines, each with its own truth to tell, in its own time, of course, the long, hot summer, the winter to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bobby. Very timely with the winter to come. Appreciate that. I am going to introduce Wendy Taylor Carlisle next, so hopefully she can be unmuted. Poet and author Wendy Taylor Carlisle's latest book is The Mercy of Traffic. She hails from all over, most recently Arkansas. Wendy.
All right. Hi, I'm here to support the National Democratic Party because, as one commentator put it, the party is in a knife fight in a biker bar in Frog March, Alabama, and it's really important that we win. So give what you can. Thank you to Marc and Larissa, and especially to Jonathan, who has been my editor since 1999. As you can probably tell from listening to me, I'm from the South, but my sons live in California. This is a sort of a sonnet. Rapture. I often think of immolation when the wind gets up to no good, as it does here in the mountains, and reminds me how the wildfire took California, the Gulf rains took Houston, how puffery took over Washington to no particular purpose. But I'm okay. I have a gracious plenty of canned goods set by, just in case Al Gore was right when he showed his pictures of a future that can only be called the end of days. Fires and drought, disease enough to raise a hallelujah. I'm glad for the heads up, and good on you, Al. It's eschatology or entropy. No matter which gods you choose, the end will come too soon. It's either the rapture or the goddamn secular flame. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. What a way to end the secular flame. Thank you so much. So I think Larissa has a special message for us now.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I have 3 words for you. The Supreme Court, okay? A Democratic Congress can add members to this ever right-leaning bench. So fight for our judiciary. Go to the chat now and donate. How are we doing? Jonathan, can we see the website?
$998. Sorry, $86, I think.
How
yeah.
much?
We'll see. Here we go. 1,336.
Okay, our goal is $5,000. I think we're going to make it. Please give generously. If you're on Facebook, please go to the Facebook, our Lit Balm page on Facebook. That's Lit Balm, LITBALM, and donate there. Or you can go to our event page and hit tickets and donate there. There are many ways to donate, and we're doing very well, folks. But let's see if we can hit that 5,000 mark today. Let's really see if we can do it. 4 more years is just not acceptable. Tara, take it away and bring us back to poetry.
All right, absolutely. Yes, this is what you came for. So I would like to introduce Andrei Codrescu next. So while we get him unmuted, I'll read a brief bio. Our next reader is Andrei Codrescu of Exquisite Corpse and NPR. His latest offering is The Plague Diaries. Take it away, Andrei.
Okay, apropos of Bobby Byrd's hat, it's been exactly 65 years since Allen Ginsberg read his poem Howl at the Sixth Gallery in San Francisco, a pivotal moment. I was born in Romania. Our most famous exile was Ovid, who was exiled by the Emperor Augustus to what is now the Romanian Black Sea for being writing amorous verses. He complained quite a bit. I went into lockdown or isolation in Queens actually in April, and so this poem is March 30, 2020. In the age of COVID, and its silence in Queens. In exile in Tomis was the port where in exile in Tomis, Ovid wrote letters to Augustus about the painted natives and the brutal winters. There were physicians in the Lyceum in Tomis, a Greek seaport of vivid spectacles and goods. Augustus received Ovid's Triste and ignored the poet's exaggerated plaints and sorrows and enjoyed his gloomy verse of the province. Rome was much safer without the amorous lech. Exiled to the Ozarks, I aroused pity in New York, the city, as the inhabitants called it for its splendors. In the Ozarks, where I lived for 7 years, in the Ozarks, survivalists juggled snakes in caves. I had 2 caves, saw snakes. There was no doctor near. In Siberia, Pasternak, the doctor, was kidnapped by armies to tend to their wounded and their gods that were as hard and cold as their winters. And out he trudged in the movie through the snow. Some plagues are real, some were not. In retrospect, many people died in history's show. For our historians, heirs, poets, and filmmakers, there is no better subject than great distance. Social or forced or voluntary or just geographical, people willing and unwilling to grow the spaces between others, even lovers, kin, or parts of their own selves. Distance is the only subject to sing and emote for. Under house arrest in Bucharest, there was a policeman watching at your door. If you got sick and needed to get to the hospital fast, you just called your guardian and got there in a jiff. Under house arrest in Queens, everyone is in their own dens listening to sirens. If you get sick, nobody will come for you. By the time you hear your siren, you'll be stiff. And that's the end of that. Yeah. So,
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's an arresting ending. Thank you so much. I will read a brief bio for Alison Adelle Hedge Koch while we unmute her. Alison Adelle Hedge Koch is a poet and writer and teaches for the University of California, Riverside. Alison, take it away.
I think she's knocked out. Mark, do you have her video?
I do.
Ah, yes, she
had an internet problem earlier, so she sent us a video just in case. Let's see if we can do this. Unfortunately, it's not that easy sometimes with this. I would suggest we come back to Alison because I think that...
Sure. Okay. So next up would be Martha Collins then, so we can get her prepared and I'll read a bio. Martha Collins is an award-winning poet and translator of Vietnamese poets. Her latest book is Because What Else Could I Do? Martha.
Hello. Thank you, organizers. Thank you, fellow readers. Thank you, listeners. And most of all, thank you, everyone who donates. I just did. Join me. The border. Hasta luego, and over you go. And it's not serapes, the big sombreros, not even coyotes, rivers and hills, though that's more like it. Towers with guards. Stop! And we shoot, and they do, but you don't need a border for that. A fence will do. A black boy stuck to its wire like a leaf. A happy gun in the thick pink hand that wags from the sleeve. Even a street, the other side, a door, a skin. Give me a hand, and she gives him a hand. She gives him both her hands. The bones of her back are cracking. The string has snapped. She's falling, she's pleated paper, paper is spreading, and there you are again, over the edge. You open your hands, and what have you got but confetti? And what can you do with confetti? Our side won a celebration, shaken hands. It matters now, whatever it is, but how close you are, your street, the fence behind your house is the zero border where minus begins. Roots turn branches, cellar is house. You close your busy mouth to speak. An anti-lamp darkens the day, and you love that street, it's crazy traffic. You climb that fence, you wave across. There's a rock in your hand, but it's not your fault. You like to travel, the colorful people, but what if you fell? Your house, your children, the work that gets you up in the morning, the language gone, the grammar, the rules, the family talent, those searching eyes. But think of the absence of I, a higher tower, a little more wire. Border? You crossed the border hours ago. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. That was mesmerizing. Where do we stand with Alison? Should we go to her or plunge ahead, Mark?
I think we should plunge ahead.
All right. All right.
Yeah, she might.
We'll try and circle back. Okay, great. So I believe Larissa has some words for us now.
Yes, folks, as I say, this is the first of a 3-week ZOOMAthon event. In upcoming weeks, you are going to hear from Paul Muldoon. Oh, let's see how we're doing. $2,131. You go, girls. You go, boys. Excellent. Excellent. We're coming up on our $5,000 goal. We have a goal of $5,000 per event. As I said, this is a 3-week ZOOMAthon. In upcoming weeks, you're going to hear from Paul Muldoon, Carolyn Forche, Naomi Shihab Nye, Ann Waldman, Mark Doty, Martin Espada, Kimiko Hunt, and literally dozens of other people. It's going to be very exciting. So tune in again, October 17th and 24th. Thank you for your donations. Send your receipt to info@litbalm.org to claim your thank you gifts, which are a Mad Hat book for $25, a Mad Hat and Unlikely book for $50, and for $75, you get The Angry Lips and the 2 books. Tara, let's get back to poetry.
Angry Lips, folks, how could you pass this up? Honestly, they're waiting for you. But let's not mess around. Our next reader is Annie Finch. So while we get her unmuted, I'll read a bio.
I don't think Annie ever made it.
Oh, all right. Well, then we will try and...
Annie is traveling, and was in Portugal. So the gods of the internet, the god of the internet, which we call blood, may not have been kind to them. All right, yes. Thank you.
Okay, all right. So next up then is Joanna Furman. So while we get her lined up, I'll read a bio. Joanna Furman's 6th book, To a New Era, is forthcoming from Hanging Loose Press. Joanna, please, the floor is yours.
Hi. Okay. I'm going to read a poem called Whiskers. My husband, who's right here, he grew a really big beard at the beginning of the pandemic, but now it's a short beard. Okay, Whiskers. Bob's pandemic beard is the new member of our household. He pets it as if there were a kitten crawling across his chin. I say, how come you can have a beard cat, but you won't let me get a real cat? A beard cat is no use as a cat. It doesn't jump for the ragged tips of peacock feathers, doesn't wake me up with its wet nose, doesn't crawl on my chest and purr when I hear from my dad that my mom in the Florida hospital isn't getting better. The beard cat doesn't even meow or growl or pounce. It crows at the window. As I pout, the beard cat jumps off Bob's face and swan dives into what I imagine is a moment in our post-COVID future. A silver lit evening where we are munching on shrimp tacos under the multicolored garlands of a Mexican cafe in Mexico, perhaps, or where we are huddling with tourists admiring Sophie Tober Arp's dancing Dada dolls at the new MoMA. As we worry about everything, all the past and future deaths ricocheting off the decapitated statues of disjointed piazzas, all the lost possibilities of lips grazing lips, the missed handshakes and hugs free falling into intergalactic tunnels. The beard cat is pirouetting on the rips in time between now and then. It weaves a flag out of the threads it has pulled from continuity, tries to surrender to a dragon with its flames blistering the stratosphere. Each night, the beard cat rips the walls off our bedroom, replacing them with a mass of undulating orange paws. Dear beard cat, please forgive me for not loving you enough when all you were trying to do was mark time. to provide a little salt and pepper colored hairtainment to a confined middle-aged couple. When you are finally ready to say goodbye, promise you'll allow me to stroke your pale tendrils one last time. Let me decorate your rough fur with marigolds. Thanks. Oh, I have a real cat now trying to see if he can come over here. Hey, come here, cat.
We will stay tuned throughout the Zoomathon to chart the progress of the cat here. Thank you so much for sharing.
Tara, I have a student of Annie Finch's here, Rodney A. Brown. Do you think it'd be appropriate to have him read one of Annie's poems?
Yeah, sure. Yes,
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Sure thing.
Hey y'all. Let's go ahead. Yeah, it would be great to read something from Annie. I'm gonna read Keys, Phi Beta Kappa poem, Yale University, 2011. Like an island, a key makes a door. In the surge of its mineral clarity, seas come unbound. Though an arch curves together, the keystone will stay, braced in gravity, locked by immensity, wound to a temple in air by the spiraling play that could tumble much heavier forces. What's found past the musical notes that cascade and converge in a key, past the lock that tick carries away when it's wound by a key? There are patterns that merge, meanings silent until we code them open, clued to us by the random knowing tribes, carvings, letters, hands, faces, symbols, stars, each warm friction's vibration circumscribes. One more seat in the clearing where we are gathered, circling a home we can't describe. What's the word but a word that can't be spoken? Who'd tear pleasure out past life's iron bars? Where's the use of code that won't be broken? A ring of key hangs like a question at your side. You move through the answering darkness like a key, while windows of moonlight branch down the catacombs and rustle each prisoner into mystery. Each lock, like each room, is alone till the opening comes. Your ring reaches one, then another. Liberty repeats down the corridor, doors pulled open wide, exploding more showers of sweetness through the combs. Whose locks had been waiting for one key to be tried? Annie Finch, thank you. Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you so much for standing in for her. And I see that Annie Finch's poetry summoned the cat in Joanna's house.
Hey,
We got to see that.
Her magic.
So we have one more poet before some more words from Larissa. So I would like to invite us to unmute Christopher Gonzalez while I read his bio. Christopher Gonzalez is the author of the forthcoming short story collection, I'm Not Hungry, But I Could Eat. Christopher, take it away.
Hi, thank you all for coming out. Thank you, Tara. Thank you, Lit Balm, for hosting this. Everyone, please donate if you can. Like Larissa said, we can't do 4 more years of this, so if you can open up your purse, do it. I'm going to read a short flash called Ordering Fries at Happy Hour. I'll go. Okay, we'll get fries. It's done, it's easy. The menu offers lemon parsley for $6 and $7 for truffle. So why don't we get the truffle? It's only $1 more, a goddamn steal in the city, a hallelujah for the wallet. Never mind that I had to hoist myself up onto the bar stool, the seat of which couldn't hold a personal pan pizza, let alone my entire ass. And never mind that when the fries finally come out, you'll look them over and say some shit about how we shouldn't be eating this, that fries are truly so bad. I guess we're being bad today, before mentioning that article from The Atlantic about the proper portion size of fries and suggesting that we should only take 6 fries each, which would leave behind a whole fucking basket. And then you'll laugh about the ridiculousness of it. The idea that anyone could stop at 6. And then I won't laugh while shoving 6 fries, maybe 7 or 8, 10, if I can manage, into my mouth. And I wonder if fries have feelings, if it's cozy in my mouth the seconds before I grind them into paste. And do they feel safe in there from think pieces and Twitter threads and fat shamers and coworkers who love happy hour but hate food, who never allow themselves to disappear into a bite? And do fries create more than their salty graves? Because sometimes I think, damn, what a joy it must be to live the short lifespan of a potato. And I think about their purpose, all that unlimited potential. We can mash or fry or bake or twice bake or roast them in a hot oven or drown them in cheese. And if I were a potato, the best part is I must believe I wouldn't have to listen to you and the waitress argue over the Chipotle mayonnaise you're ordering, whether it's an aioli or a remoulade, and I wouldn't have to hold back from finishing the fries before your dip arrives, or I wouldn't have to pause to count how many I've eaten, whether the 6 or 8 or 10 were that many more than the number you ate. If I got greedy, if I was being too much me again, or if you'd even notice, and there would be no waiting over who should eat the last cold fry. No, they would stay hot and crisp, and the oil on my fingertips would be a blessing, anointing my tongue with every lick. Thank you.
Wow, we're all hungry now. Hearing that piece is amazing. I've read it before, but to hear it read is wonderful. Thank you so much, Chris. And now Larissa has some more words for us.
Some more words. How are we doing? Can we see our donations? How are we doing? How much do we have now, ladies and gentlemen?
Hold on.
Ooh.
A tidy sum, $2,231. We are halfway to our goal. Remember, Obama won $5 at a time. So if you cannot donate a vast amount, your $5 will help. So please go now to the chat and donate, or if Facebook viewers, go to the Lit Balm page and donate at the Secure Act Blue website there. And, let's support the candidates with a record of supporting the arts, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Let's do this. Let's make our 5,000. If you've donated, thank you very much. And let's go back to the poetry.
All right, so next up is Erica Jong, and while she is unmuted, I'll read her bio. Erica Jong is the iconic author of Fear of Flying and Fear of Dying. Erica, please take the floor.
Unmute. Hello? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I just want to say why I'm a lifelong Democrat. The Democrats care about people, care about our lives, care about health care. And this is why I always vote Democrat. They're not perfect, but if we get involved, we can make them more perfect than they are. So we should not give up because of lack of perfection. I'm going to go out with my husband soon and vote Democratic, and I hope you will do the same. And get involved and care about our future because it matters. It really matters. I'm going to read one poem, which is called Child on the Beach. Maybe
Actually,
you
Erica,
remember.
I'm so sorry. It seems we don't have a video of you before you read. I was wondering if you might want to.
The host has asked you to start a video.
Perfect. Now we can see you. Thank you so much.
Now you can see us. Okay.
Yes, perfect.
Great. You might remember that photograph of a dead child on the beach in Greece. It was a very moving poem, a very moving photograph, which inspired this poem, Child on the Beach. The Mediterranean is black with bodies, as in the time of the Trojan War, when Homer sang of bloody battles and heroes lay unburied beneath the topless towers of Troy. But this little boy of 3 sleeps unburied on a beach. Where is he from? The chemical fog of Syria, the garbage dumps of beautiful Beirut, the chaos of civilization come undone. He rests, his parents lost, his sisters drowned, his brother thrown up on another beach. What shall I do with this nameless toddler who breaks me open to grief? I will adopt him, my nameless grandson, welcome him into my shattered breast, his death so sweet, even cherubs weep, and nereids float him in their seaweed boats. Little one, now you are mine. Sleep in my arms while I sing you this lullaby. Maybe you'll awaken in a kinder world where children don't die at the edge of the sea. Meanwhile, dream of peace for this broken world. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the reading. Thank you all for donating.
And thank you, Erica, so much for reading and breaking our hearts open. That was wonderful and amazing. Need a moment. Okay, here we go. Our next reader, Sophia Naz. While she is being unmuted, I'll read her bio. Sophia Naz is a bilingual poet, essayist, author, editor, and translator whose publications include the poetry collections Peripheries, 2015, Pointillism, 2017, and Date Palms, 2017. Sophia, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. And I'm so delighted to be part of this Zoomathon. One of the most devastating things that the Trump administration has done is to absolutely ignore climate science. And I'm coming to you from Northern California, the wine country, and I lost my home to devastating fires 3 years ago today. So I'd like to read a poem called Aftermath. The calculus that what's beyond the hill must be left at memory's table, a feast not meant to be eaten, but pierced at the precise point which leads smoothly into the needle's nose, hugs the thread snug, so thought, fleshed out, desiccates, but doesn't fall, like meat tendering a resignation. The trees are bereft of berries now. You would have paused to pick them, grasping at branches just beyond your reach, and knees would bruise, ripe as a summer peach, disappears, leaving only a sunset stain in the corner of sky's wordless mouth. Falls, moist mist, almost dissipated. Only wisps of stubborn weed cling to the hillsides, feathers, ostrich brown, akin to you, whose head swims in the sand. The drought has dealt you well. You dwell in doubts. The hill still beckons. Almost against your will, you are walking. Woodpeckers on tap to open up the trapdoors. Char as far as the eye can roam. sinew of auburn manzanitas, burned and hacked to pieces. Reel after reel, you can't unsee the forest's death. A silent movie plays on, the orchestra, a hollow pump, fist of an organ, thumping on and on you walk, to the top, the slope abruptly condescending. The price, extracted in perspiration's penance, paid you richly in coin. In kind, you preened the plumes as a peacock, dancing in the rain, would scatter a myriad eyes. Their blue, made not of borrowed pigment, but out of bent light, reflecting ways of seeing nothing, multiplying a hall of mirrors and a single flame. The last house on a dead-end road would rise up to fill your eyes first. The roundabout, full with aloe and well-fed quills of succulents, and then the porch, overhung with ivy, so thick even envy would pale away like winter sun. Shining where it once stood, where you stand on scarred earth, scabbed into scrub, as if after many blows a giant had fallen, and through his moors you saw the valley yawn wide, felt something give as the waters rushed in. Thank you.
Thank you for that lush imagery and for sharing your experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So our next reader, Marc Pawlak, while he is unmuted, I'll read his bio. Marc Pawlak is a Polish-American poet, anthologist and educator, and author of many books, including Reconnaissance. Marc, the floor is yours.
Thank you. And thank you to the organizers of this event, the Lit Balm organizers. It's really terrific, and I hope we top the targeted $5,000 today. I'm going to read a poem I wrote in, I think, 2003. One of the sad things about writing political poetry, I find, is that some of the poems, their occasions recur, and other ones, the occasions just never go away. So this is called Protective and Defensive Devices. It's a found poem. It's a poem that I based on a collage made by Tuli Kupfenberg, one of the members of the 60s rock and roll group, the Fugs. If anybody can identify the source of the Fugs name, they should donate an extra $25. So it was a collage he created in the 60s when John Lindsay was mayor of New York. And so I sort of reconfigured it as a found poem, Protective and Defensive Devices. It's drawn from a catalog of items being sold to the police force. Seemed relevant today. And it begins with an epigraph. In honor of the 4th anniversary as police commissioner, Howard Leary received a paperweight model of a nightstick from the mayor of New York. Peerless handcuffs, precision American made. Tempered steel double safety lock, 2 keys. Model name, Subpoena. Leg irons, kick-proof, and run-proof. Model irons. Handcuff transport belt, restrains prisoner by keeping hands safely at waist. Model restrict. Twister chain and holder. Easy to apply, uses pressure as needed to subdue. Model safeguard. Judo stick, unbreakable plastic persuader. Defensive item, rubber for sure grip, used to persuade or subdue the unruly prisoner. Model judo. Midget thumb cuffs, off duty, especially good for juveniles. Model spy. Aluminum knuckles, light cast aluminum, carries nicely in pocket, fits hands comfortably. Model slugger. Palm slapper, concealed in palm, powder loaded lead persuader, fits easy in pocket. Model rowdy. Lead loaded sap gloves, handsome flexible dress glove made of genuine deerskin. You would never know that this is loaded with 6 ounces of powdered lead saps, built in, black only. Model saboteur. So the items seem kind of quaint today when we have police using AR-15s and armored Humvees and percussive grenades. But I think a poem like this can speak to the the force and intimidation and arbitrary aggression we see continuing today, and it's a kind of a continuity in our nation of a historical and deeply entrenched policing culture. Well, thank you all for listening to my poem. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Marc. And as you can see from my background, we today have a kinder, gentler way of persuading you to make a donation to Act Blue. And that name Persuader just really struck me. So that was like, that just stuck with me. So I'd like to invite Larissa to tell you something about how we are going to persuade you to donate.
I know we're preaching to the converted, but let us think about what Marc and Sophia just spoke about. We need to make Black Lives Matter. The right is criminalizing First Amendment protected protests. So let's stand up for Breonna. Let's stand up for George Floyd and scores of others, and past and future. Donate at the link now, please. And, we also need to stand up for the environment. We need to support Democrats who know climate change is a thing and that we're responsible for it, and we must have a responsibility to act. So donate now at the chat. Viewers on Facebook, go to the Lit Balm page and donate generously. And get a pair of angry lips for $75. Tara, let's go back to the poetry.
It's Halloween. Wouldn't you love to have this festive set of bloody, angry lips to celebrate? So donate. I just wanted to check, do we have a read on Alison's video? Should we try that again or no? No.
I think we should move forward.
Okay.
I think I've got the video, actually.
Oh, do you?
That would help.
Can you do it?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank
right.
you. Let's go with that. While we figure out the audio, I'll just do her introduction. Alison Adelle Hedge Koch is a poet, writer, and she teaches for the University of California, Riverside. So here we go.
We're not hearing the audio, JP.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's playing on my end. I'm not sure.
Okay, well, we'll move ahead and maybe try it again at some point. But without further ado, Lloyd Schwartz is the next on our roster. So while he's unmuted, Lloyd Schwartz is an American poet, Elizabeth Bishop Scholar, and the Frederick S. Troy Professor of English at the University of Massachusetts, Boston. His recent books include Little Kisses. Lloyd, please take it away.
Thank you, organizers. This is a wonderful event. I'm very happy to be part of it. And congratulations. I'm going to read a sestina, but it's only basically one word per line. And when I wrote it some years ago, I thought of it as a kind of dialogue between two people. But now, when I read it now, it seems to, in my head, it's a kind of more universal debate. So it's called 6 Words. Yes, no, maybe, sometimes, always, never. Never? Yes. Always? No. Sometimes. Maybe, maybe never sometimes. Yes. No, always. Always, maybe. No, never, yes. Sometimes, sometimes, always, yes. Maybe, never. No, no, sometimes, never. Always? Maybe. Yes. Yes. No. Maybe. Sometimes. Always. Never. Thank you. And I would like to add 2 more words. Donate, vote. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lloyd. And definitely the reading just brings that to life. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Our next reader is going to be John Skoyles. So while he's unmuted, I will let you know that poet and editor of Plowshares, John Skoyles' most recent book is Driven. John, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes,
We can.
thank you. Thank you, Tara, Larissa, Mark, Mad Hat, Jonathan, and Lit Balm. Lloyd, that's my favorite sestina. Anyway, at my age, you lose a lot of friends in the last few years I have, and this poem addresses that experience. The poem is called The Revenants. Meet the late Maurice Ravel, his bolero band and his name damned as a bar to heaven and a door to hell at the convent of the 7 Sorrows. Enter my colleague in critical theory, who analyzed the horizon from the bottom of a well and tried to understand the tides by kicking over a bucket of brine. I bring your attention to the Baroness von Tybell-Schmidtlein, whose burning passions cremated time until her life was ash. Here's Preston, her son, fresh from his yoga mat, who inhaled God everywhere like air, but shot himself on Mother's Day, her white gloves in his lap. Why this parade of revenants down the page? I've tried my best to prevent the last breath of my friend on his deathbed by introducing this circus of the marvelous and strange, and it worked. I mean, it gave him a final smile. With a quick turn of his head, he said, "Why look so sad when you've brought Ravel and the Baroness back from the dead?" Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, John. Appreciate that. Thank you for being here tonight.
Beautiful.
Our next reader is Timothy Steele. So while he's being unmuted, poet Timothy Steele's books include Toward the Winter Solstice. Timothy, take it away, please.
Thank you, Tara. It's a pleasure to read with fellow poets for such a critical cause today, and to hear so much eloquence about the importance of the upcoming election. The poem I'll read describes waking in early morning and listening to night birds like owls fall silent while birds of the day start to rouse and sing. I draw an analogy between this process and the shifts at the hospital where my mother worked when my brother and sister and I were growing up. To maintain 24-hour care, the nurses worked from 7 to 3 in the afternoon, from 3 to 11 in the evening, and 11 to 7 the next morning. And my mother generally drew the morning shift and the late night shift. This transition enabling arrangement always interested me, and it struck me years later listening to the birds at dawn that something comparable was happening in their world. I chose this poem today for 2 reasons. One, we're all hoping for a harmonious transition later this year, a transfer of authority. 2, the poem concerns nurses who have done and sacrificed so much for us during this COVID-19 pandemic. Changing of the guard. Prior to sunrise, as it's growing light, nocturnal birds relay the burden of their vocal arts to their diurnal counterparts. An owl hoots as a coda to the night. A finch chirps as a prelude to the day. It is as if the birds, wings notwithstanding, were passing a baton. They make me think as they converse of when my mother was a nurse. Each morning as the night shift was disbanding, the day shift at her hospital came on. Our breakfasts fit whichever shift she drew. By an unspoken rule, leaving for work or coming from it, she held a little family summit. We kids, the instant she excused us, flew out of the kitchen to prepare for school. I like the way the shifts aligned, the flow and order they created. While the white dress all nurses wore expressed their brisk esprit de corps, their caps had different designs to show the colleges from which they'd graduated. Listening to the birds, I can infer which schools they went to. Still, like sensitively trained musicians, they're good at managing transitions, just as my mother and her colleagues were in looking after the infirm and ill. So, though it is a signal to a mate, most birds send through the air, or else a claim to territory. Their chorus seems to tell a story of former mornings and to correlate the continuities of song and care. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much for that very timely poem. Appreciate that. So I think Larissa has some words for us.
I have some words for you, which, first of all, my enormous thanks to the poets and writers who have contributed your time and your presence to this reading. Thank you very much. Can we see how we're doing? How are we doing on our fundraising? Okay. Can we see how we're doing?
Oh,
There we
here we go. Drum roll, please.
$2,696. Let's see if we can top off 3,000 today, folks. let's see if we can top off 3,000 today. And remember that the Zoomathon is a 3-week event. We are going to be having an event on October 17th with a bevy of brilliant readers. Also on October 24th, you will hear Paul Muldoon, Carolyn Forche, Naomi Shebnai, Kimiko Hahn, Martin Espada, Mark Doty, and Waldman, many, many, many others. And we thank you all from the bottom of our hearts, because poets truly are the unseen legislators of the world. So donate now if you can. Donate now if you can. And please donate generously at the link in the chat on our Facebook page or at our event. And you can contact me after the event to ask how to donate if you're having trouble with the systems. So with that, I think we have 2 more poets to hear from.
Yes.
Tara,
Yes.
can you please take it away to the poetry?
Absolutely. So just want to let folks know, if you're, thinking about the holiday season, shopping for some gifts, perhaps ahead of time, this festive, Christmassy Angry Lips is also available. Email us at info@litbalm.org. We'll be putting the email address and the donation link in the chat periodically throughout. But yes, let's get to our last couple of poems, our readers. Terence Winch will be up next. So while we unmute him, I'll go ahead and read that poem, the bio. Award-winning poet, fiction writer, and musician, Terence Winch is the author of 8 poetry collections, a short story collection, and That Special Place, New World Irish Stories, a collection of nonfiction pieces about his life in Irish music. Terence, the floor is yours.
Thank you. And thanks to everyone who's read before me tonight. Great to hear everyone's work. I think I'm better suited for the lockdown than most people, because I'm sort of borderline agoraphobic. And in fact, I published a book in the 90s called The Great Indoors. And I thought I'd read the poem that I think sits best under that title, hearkening back in some ways to the way the world used to be, called Civilized Atmospheres. The bar is filled with a foul odor, something to do with the sewage system. People don't mind one bit. They smoke, talk, make time, drink, dance. We don't mind either. We like to see people having fun. We think there should be more fun in all our lives, and more sex and money. We want everyone to have more power, as much power as they would like, because we know how important power is to people. We want everyone we know to be the boss on the job and at home too. We want them to get what they want, because when they do, they're happy and we're happy. We want them to have bigger and better houses and apartments, more beautiful lovers. We want them to have hard, lean bodies and perfect cardiovascular health. We want their health clubs to be radiant and spotless. We'd like to see their children turn out radiant too. It's threatening to rain. We hate rain. We hate even more the heavy oppressive atmosphere that precedes rain. We hate the bad smell in the bar, and we don't like the people in the bar because they seem so pompous. Their breath is horrible, and they have pot bellies, and their clothing stinks of cigarettes. It's getting dark 2 hours before it should. That really makes us mad and depresses us too. Darkness. We hate darkness because it is so scary. Nobody calls us anymore, so we call them, because we don't want to be left alone up here in the dark with no one to talk to. But there's no answer, or we get the answering machine and leave a message, or they are there, but they just can't talk to us right now because they're too busy, or even worse, they're expecting a more important call than ours. It's pouring now. Thunderous skies are opening up. Everything is wet. We hate to get wet. We closed the windows just in time, but now it's airless in here and we can't breathe. We don't like work, the coming and going, the politics, the give and take. We can live without it. The mindless routine day after day, the bus, the coffee break, the paperwork. We don't want anyone to have to go to work with those disgusting, bad-smelling people who think they're so important. Don't they know that no one is indispensable? What about when you die? Do they ever think of that? We don't want to have to come home from work in the scary, wet darkness and then have to leave again for the smelly bar where those absolutely horrible people drink their drinks. We don't want anyone we know to have to do it either. We'd like everybody to stay home where it's dry and peaceful, where they can watch movies and eat whatever they want, sleeping in a chair, listening to the sound of a car horn, the scary, wet darkness enveloping them in its dream. Thanks.
Thank you, Terence, for sharing that. And that I'm sure is relatable for a lot of folks here in the chat or in the Zoom. Thank you. So our last reader, Damon Young, should be available to unmute, and I will read his bio while we do that. Damon Young is the author of What Doesn't Kill You Makes You Blacker, a memoir and essays from Echo HarperCollins. He's the winner of Barnes & Noble's 2019 Discover Award. He's also the founder of the culture blog Very Smart Brothers and a contributing opinion writer for the New York Times. Damon Young, the floor is yours.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for this, bringing us together. I'm actually going to read two things, two pretty short things. One is the intro from What Doesn't Kill You Makes You Blacker. And then another part is another intro for a chapter in the book. Okay. And the title of the first intro is Living While Black is an Extreme Sport. Every New Year's Day, hundreds of people gather together on the banks of the Monongahela, a 130-mile-long river that begins in Fairmont, West Virginia, runs along a stretch of factories, steel mills, and power plants through the Mon Valley, and flows to Pittsburgh, where it converges with the Allegheny River at Point State Park to form the Ohio River. Once there, these people strip and dive in. New Year's Day, as you probably know, occurs in January. An average temperature in Pittsburgh then hovers somewhere between hold my beer and fuck this shit, which means that they're usually splashing butt-ass naked in Appalachian slush puppy. They call themselves the Polar Bear Club in their annual Dive the Polar Bear Plunge. Perhaps, while reading that paragraph, an image of a polar bear plunger plopped into your head. Without knowing anything about you, I am certain that the bare-chested, shivering, and possibly inebriated person you envision happened to be white. And not just because whiteness is such the American default that it has even colonized our imaginations, but because willingly willingly exposing yourself to frostbite, hypothermia, and the trillion-year half-life Mon Valley isotopes floating downstream is about as that's some white people shit as that's some white people shit gets. Only someone so comfortably ensconced and privileged that they need to find ways to fabricate closest to death to feel alive will leave their bed and blankets and house and clothes and city and the tens of thousands of years of civilization devoted to finding more efficient ways to protect us from the elements in the dead of winter that belly flop into a billion gallons of toxic ice. It's so white that if you happen to be a non-white member of the Polar Bear Club, and it doesn't matter if you're Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, Shaka Khan, or Shaka Zulu, you become, from the time you remove your clothes to the time you climb back out of the water, white by osmosis. That's the first one. I have to apologize too. I had oral surgery, had 4 wisdom teeth extracted on Wednesday, so my words might be slurring a little bit, so sorry for that. All right, second passage. And this is from a chapter titled Living While Black Killed My Mom, but it's actually about my dad, this passage. Assuming, of course, that he dies before I do, when Dad passes away, I'll have a stockpile of entertaining stories to share about him at his funeral. So many that I've already begun vetting them for time and clarity in the Zoom audience, and practicing the cadences of the ones that have made the first cut. I'm even leaning towards incorporating a song. Leon Thomas's cover of Horace Silver's Song for My Father. I plan to begin and conclude the eulogy by singing. If there was ever a man who was generous, gracious, and good, that was my dad, the man. This song, by the way, also includes an extensive yodel. And all the Everclear State College wouldn't convince me to do that too. One of these stories took place when I was in 6th grade, a month before basketball season at St. Bart's. We learned that the school had ordered new uniforms for us. Instead of the extra medium nylon nut huggers they rocked the season before, we called them Stocktons, a reference to Utah Jazz point guard John Stockton, whose shorts were so famously short that he was practically hooping in a jockstrap. The new shorts were to be baggy and the shirts reversible and personalized with our last names on the back, which was fucking awesome. Unfortunately, about a strep throat kept me out of school for a week when the uniforms came in, which meant that by the time I got back to school, all of my teammates had already chosen the large and extra large shorts, which meant I had to fit into a medium, which meant I had to squeeze into a medium, which fit my disproportionately juicy booty like spandex. I was distraught by this. I was already annoyingly self-conscious about everything, and I wasn't looking forward to an entire season of breaking zone presses in an adolescent thong, my ample butt cheeks flapping in the wind as I led 3-on-2 fast breaks. I might even cry when going home that day and sharing my limits with Dad, who, to his credit, seemed to be trying really, really hard to care and not laugh. Convinced that parents just don't fucking understand, I retreated to my bedroom, watched MacGyver and the Weather Channel, and powdered myself to sleep. Still recovering from the strap, I woke up in the middle of the night and went downstairs to grab some orange juice. Dad was still up, sitting at the kitchen table listening to Miles Davis and doing a crossword puzzle. He was wearing a Sunday Morning Warriors Basketball League shirt and some hoop shorts. My hoop shorts. My dad was 6'2", weighed close to 200 pounds then. If the shorts fit me like spandex, they glued to his thighs like spray paint. I still have no idea how he even managed to get them on without a quart of olive oil and a sheet of Reynolds wrap. But I knew immediately why he was wearing them. He knew how upset I was about the shorts, so he was doing what he could to stretch them out. For me. He noticed me noticing the shorts, and he nodded his head at me and continued his crossword. I went to the kitchen, poured a glass of orange juice, drank it, went back upstairs, and wondered if he was going to wash them before giving them back to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Damon. Appreciate that. So we have reached the end of our list of readers. So
Joanna Furman told me what I was doing wrong when we tried to watch.
Excellent. Excellent. Yes, please do.
So we've got Alison now, or?
We'll just get, yeah.
Yes, we have Joanna Furman.
Oh, there we go.
The dictator's hands. Hand over mouth over earth, between legs, between blouse, between eyes, what it's worth. Filled with clubs, filled with pens, filled with mics with no end. On the keys to the empire, the palace, the beast, with its head all entangles, wrought up without peace. Waving about without reason or time, hands without purpose, running wildly unkind, signing parcels of death, inking fresh kill, tell bled. No caring for country, no caring for dead. Could shoot someone on 5th Street and no one would care. Could wipe out the whole country if happened to dare. Midasing miser, the people be damned. Nothing and no one adhere his demand. Nothing and no one adhere his demand.
Nothing and no one adhere his demand. Look at all these angry lips. They're just waiting for your donations. There's so many of them. We need so many homes for these angry lips. I'll hand it over to Larissa to take us out.
Thank you. I want to say, first of all, a heartfelt thanks to our readers, Bobby Byrd, Wendy Taylor Carlisle, Andrei Codrescu, Alison, Hedge, Martha Collins, Rodney A. Brown for Annie Finch, Joanna Furman, Christopher Gonzalez, Erica Jong, Sophia Naz, Mark Pawlak, Lloyd Schwartz, John Skoyles, Timothy Steele, Terence Winch, and Damon Young. You were all fantastic. Thank you. Can we see how, and Mark and Jonathan, do you have any thoughts? And can we see, how did we do? How did we find, what was our final take today?
I just wanted to thank Tanya again for helping us with those trolls that we had coming into the chat room.
That was well done, guys. That was really well done. Thank you.
So yeah, 71 donors and 2,872. Not too bad. Not too bad.
Thank you, everyone who donated. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much to the donors. We appreciate it. And tune in next week when you will hear an amazing list hosted by Indran Amrithanayagam. You'll hear Martin Espada, David Blair, Stuart Dichelle, Carmen, Camille Dungy, Stephanie Burt, Dorothea Lasky, Hugo Burnham, who's from the Gang of Four, the rocker, Roy Nathanson, the jazz musician, Nick Hakim, the singer-songwriter, Jiwon Choi, Jack, many others coming up. Check our event page for the full listing. This has been awesome. Mark, Jonathan, final thoughts, Tara?
Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in this amazing extravaganza of readings and helping the cause. We know 4 more years of this is going to get absolutely insane. So, if a poem helps to raise $5, so be it. And thank you everyone who donated. We're well on the way to reaching our goal. I think we should set our final goal for 15,000 then, since we got close to 3 today, but we didn't get quite hit 5. What do you think?
I think that's a good
Absolutely.
idea. A great idea.
Yeah.
And thank you to everyone who read. Please come back again. And that is our show. Make Black Lives Matter. Let's get on with with people who know climate change is a thing. Let's stand up for poetry. Let's stand up for justice. Let's stand up for kindness. Let's stand up for knowledge of all kinds. So please help us spread the word about our upcoming events. Share our promotional items, and that will be a help too. And thanks to everyone who donated, and good night.
I think Andrew wanted to say something.
Yeah, just to say that during the week, through the Lit Balm site, it doesn't have to be at the next reading. There is seats, and then they can send them in later. And also, we've got, just amazing people, as we've all been saying, coming up as well. Jack Hirschman's going to read next time, the Bard of the West, the Bard of the East, and among many others. So, and from Trinidad, Mervyn Taylor, Dawat Phillips. Just check in next week, 5 p.m. And thank you.
Thank you. Give some angry lips a new home.
And get your angry lips. $75 gets you angry lips. And you can donate when we're not around. We'd love to have you donate this week if you're up to it. So
it's up on the Facebook events and on the Facebook Lit Balm Facebook page as well. So anytime. Several people have actually emailed me and asked me how can I donate, and so we were very lucky to be able to start at around 600 today or something like that.
Excellent. Thank you, everyone, for your donations.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you for joining us.
Good night, everyone.
And good job on the Zoom bombers, you guys. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, Mark. That was brilliant.